All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us for today's webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about creating a small business website. You will receive the slides for this presentation. I know that's a very, very common question. And then if you have any questions during the actual webinar, go ahead and put them in the chat, and Emily will kind of be monitoring the chat for any of your questions. At the end, we also ask that you just hang on just for a little bit, as we will be sending you a survey. Just appreciate your feedback on this webinar or anything else regarding the SBDC. So with that, we are going to go ahead and get started. Again, this is creating a website for your small business. And I have to read this disclaimer, so bear with me. The information provided in this workshop and any supplementary materials provided to the registrants are intended for educational and informational purposes only. It does not constitute professional, financial, or legal advice. No registrant should act or fail to act on the basis of any material contained in this workshop without obtaining proper financial, legal, or other professional advice specific to their situation. The Northern California Small Business Development Center and its host, the Cal Poly Humboldt Sponsored Programs Foundation, specifically disclaims any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence, directly or indirectly, of the use and application of any of the information presented in this workshop. All right, thank you for bearing with me through that. Let me introduce myself. My name is Bryan Rheem, and I am a business advisor with the Shasta-Cascade, now I guess Siskiyou Shasta-Cascade SBDC. I've been doing professional business consulting for around 25 years in both the public and private sector, with a focus on small businesses for about a decade. And my passion is IT. So IT development, transformation, modernization, really how businesses can use IT to, help their businesses grow, succeed, scale. And so obviously I'm passionate about websites as well. About our agenda today, we're going to first do an introduction to the SBDC, who we are, and what we do. And then we're going to dive into concepts around a website. Now, we're not obviously going to actually build a website, but I hope to, after this webinar, you'll have some information, tips, and tricks. You'll kind of know the steps to get your website up and running. We'll talk about what your website actually needs in terms of content and media. And then we'll cover some popular website building tools. We'll wrap it all up, and then we'll have time for direct Q&A. So that is our agenda for this webinar. Let me spend a few minutes talking about the SBDC, because that is who is, bringing this webinar. The Shasta-Cascade Small Business Development Center is a program of Cal Poly Humboldt University, and we recently are now sponsored by Siskiyou EDC. So our region for this local office, based here in Redding, California, covers Shasta, Trinity, and Siskiyou counties. However, there is a small business development center near you, and we'll talk about a little bit more of how to get in touch with your local SBDC. What we do is we provide confidential, no-cost business advisory services and training services to small businesses. And you can see there by the two logos there, we are under the SBA as well as the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development, the state of California. So at all of these slides, you can see a little QR code. I'm not sure if how readable that is, as well as some of our contact information at the bottom of every slide. And we'll end this presentation with that same information as a means for you to get in contact with us, and we can help direct you to your local SBDC office as well. Oops. So you can see for our local office, we have a lot of different advisors who specialize in a lot of different areas of interest. And I'm sure it's the same for your local SBDC if you're not local to those three counties. We have people who are business generalists like myself, who kind of focus on all the aspects of small business, from launching to getting funded to growing. And most of these advisors are all business journalists, but we do have advisors that focus and specialize in specific areas. For instance, marketing or QuickBooks or human resources, technology, getting capital, a lot of everything your business needs. We have an advisor that is a specific focused advisor for that area. And then, as you can see, we have nearly 4 dozen other specialists and advisors throughout Northern California. So we are really well equipped to help you launch and grow your small business. This is kind of what we have been able to do over the past several years. We've helped raise over $22 million in capital. We've seen our businesses grow in over $13 million in sales, and over 2,000 jobs created and saved. So we really are an amazing resource, the best kept secret that a lot of people don't know about. But now you can take advantage of our services if you're not already a client, and tell your entrepreneur friends as well. And again, we recently expanded. We're now hosted locally by the Siskiyou EDC. So our counties cover Shasta, Trinity, and Siskiyou. The biggest takeaways is that there is an SBDC near you. We offer one-on-one consulting, again, at no cost. We provide mostly free webinars, workshops, and training. Some of our QuickBooks training it now comes at a very minimum cost, but this webinar and other workshops we do are at no cost. We focus on funding assistance, so that could be grants or loans or helping you raise capital, as well as, again, everything else that you might need, writing a business plan, helping with HR, helping with marketing, all the other areas that you need to help your business grow. And then again, we're in partnership with the Small Business Association, the SBA. All right, so now that that's out of the way, let's talk about website. And the very first thing we're going to talk about is why you want to invest in a website. And that's a common question I get from a lot of clients, given the social media landscape, given the fact that you can have a business page on Facebook, or maybe you're a brick and mortar that doesn't do any online sales, no e-commerce. I always still recommend a website. And so that's the very first thing we'll cover is why. Why do you need to invest in a website? And the biggest reason is it can act as a focal point for all of your marketing activities. Now, if you've been running a business, you're well aware that marketing is what generates the traffic to your brick and mortar store or your website, regardless of the type of activity or business you have. Marketing is such a key part of how you generate sales, and the website acts as that focal point for all of your market activities. It's kind of that final and resting place where people can land after they've gone through your marketing journey. So it kind of anchors all of your marketing campaigns. It's a place to centralize all your information. If you have jumped into the social media space, or you've hired a social media expert, they're the ones that tell you you want to use each platform the way it's intended. You don't use Facebook like you use Twitter, like you use Instagram, like you use, whatever. And so, as people interact with your company through social media, they're just getting snippets of what they're looking for based off what that platform offers. Well, the website kind of takes all of that information and puts it in one place. It's kind of the digital record for your company. It's the absolute truth. And I just said it's the final destination for social media pages and content. Wherever you have your brand floating out there on the web, it can be the final place where everyone rests, and it obviously promotes your brand. So it really is, it becomes an important piece of kind of anchoring everything together, pulling things all together, being that final conclusion point for your business and for your brand. And obviously it promotes your product and services. So it's kind of your digital brochure. Now, a lot of businesses still like to print out, print copies of different things, but it just becomes that digital space. And now more and more, as people are using their phone for everything, the website becomes that interaction, that interface with clients, both as acting as a place for them to conduct business transactions with your website, but also for you to promote your business. So it becomes your business digital brochure. It remains up to date. You're not having to constantly reprint materials. You're not having to constantly reissue and remember, what did I do? Who do I need to contact? What do I need to update? That becomes your digital footprint and the system of record for your website. And so you just update that as change happens to your company. You're offering new product, you're offering, or your organization changes, whatever, it's always up to date if you update it, and you have to only reprint what you choose to print for your business. And the most powerful thing is it's up 24/7, 365. So it provides, if you have a brick and mortar, it provides an additional way to conduct commerce when your store closes for the day. And if you're all online, it is up 24/7, 365. It doesn't take a break. So while you're sleeping, your website can be working for you. While you're on vacation, your website can be working for you. While you're tending to other needs or running your business, the website is always up and running and working for you. That's the biggest benefit of having a e-commerce website on e-commerce platform on your website. And then it can take your customers on a journey. So the website can actually help move people along your sales funnel journey, from, oh, they just heard about your brand, all the way to take my money. The website can be instrumental in kind of navigating and pushing people through that funnel. So it's where you want to promote your product and services. And then the big thing is it allows your small business to compete with larger brands. Now, obviously, if your competitor is a very large global brand, they probably have the funds to really push in marketing. But now, with a lot of the tools available and marketing plans available through Google and Facebook and all these other platforms, you can actually get the same play as a larger brand will get. So it really levels the playing field. It allows you to show up in local searches to local customers, which is tremendous for a small business. But then it also allows you to show up in global searches to global customers, which is new for small businesses. Now, your business model might not allow you, or you might not even want to sell products to someone overseas or on the other side of the world. But if that's your model and that's how you're going to grow revenue, the website allows you to now be globally accessible and not just locally accessible. And like I mentioned before, SEO, which is search engine optimization, and paid promotions allow your website to appear at the top of search results. And so again, you're competing with larger brands. And the way a lot of these search algorithms work, they are not based off not only who pays the most money, it's really, it's a service for their website users. So they want to give content to the people that are looking for your content. So if your content is the best fit, they become a better search website by promoting the better fit to the person who's doing the search. So it really allows you to be in front of the customers that are most likely looking for what you have to offer. So it's a really beautiful dynamic that search engine optimization and paid promotions has allowed to really allow small businesses to compete now with larger brands. And then finally, it provides legitimacy to your business. Now, I'm not saying if you don't have a website, you're not a legitimate business, but studies have shown that when someone hears about your brand or hears about your business name, they typically do a Google search. I'm sure you've done that as well. And if there isn't a website, a lot of times that kind of stops that customer from proceeding forward. And one of the first things I do when I'm researching a new business is I look up their website. I'm not only looking to see that they have a website, I'm also looking to see how is their website presented to me, kind of as a litmus test to how serious are they as a business? What's their brand like? Is this a company that I want to support? So yes, Facebook pages are amazing and you can conduct commerce through Facebook, but having a website provides that additional legitimacy. And I always recommend having a website outside of a social media platform. And then finally, it's simple and affordable. A lot of people are very intimidated by the website. I've had several people, my clients, come and say, I could never do a website. I can barely do a social media. And then I direct them to some of these tools that we'll cover later in the webinar. And by the end, they have a beautiful website up and running, doing e-commerce. And they're like, I never believed I could do it, but these tools make it so easy. So the existing tools make website creation and maintenance a breeze. It's kind of now all graphical. It's what we call WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. You have a template that allows you to design it real time and see exactly what the website is going to look like. And then maintaining it is like writing emails and updating content that way. It's super, super easy. There's no coding involved. And there are plans now that allow you to package all of the stuff to get your website up and running. Choosing a domain name, choosing a hosting provider, getting email, all that customer support, it's all wrapped up into one. So you only have to pay one fee to one vendor. So really, they've removed the obstacle and the excuse of I'm not IT or tech enough to run and manage a website. All of those excuses are gone. Now they make it super accessible and affordable. So no excuse. All right, so I wanted to just cover some of the steps to creating a website. And this is the biggest one that you wouldn't think has anything to do with a website, but it is probably the most important. And that is to get your brand identity finalized. Because like I said, when a customer goes to your website, you want them to experience you, who you are, who your company is. That's your brand, right? So the last thing you want to do is stand up. I mean, I don't want to say the last thing. It's not recommended that you just stand up a random website with random colors and a random brand that has nothing to do with who you are, that doesn't convey the emotion, the customer experience, the look, the feel that represents your company. Because then that's just a poor misrepresentation of who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. So you really do need to get your brand identity finalized. That is not just font color, font size, color scheme, and logo. That is much more. That is about who you are. What are you trying to convey? What emotion and experience do you want your brand to convey? And so, it should be a complete reflection of your brand. Someone typing in www.yourbusiness.com should encounter the same thing as if they encounter your brick and mortar or as if they were talking to you face to face, right? So your website needs to really convey that. So you need to understand what that is before you put it in the digital space. That includes your branding kit, media, font, color palette, all of that. It adds to who your brand is because that's what you're going to use to actually build your website. You want authentic photos that represent who you are, your company, your team, your product, your services. So authentic photos. Stock photos can work as long as they really do convey your brand. And then just realize that your stock photo that you're using, another company might be using that same stock photo. So wherever you can use authentic photos, obviously of your storefront or your product or you and your team, they really go a long way in creating that customer experience that, it's more than just a website. It's an experience with the business. And the things that you want to think about is how do you want the public to encounter your business? Like, what are the feelings? What are the emotions you want them to feel about your business? So just an example, there are a lot of outdoor activities where I live, right? And so there are a lot of businesses that promote outdoor activity. Well, if they're a business that rents kayaks, how do you think the brand should be? It should have a feeling of adventure and freedom and outdoors, right? So that's kind of an idea of how they want customers to experience their website. When they open their website, they want the colors to be more outdoorsy. They're looking for the browns and the greens and the blues. They're not looking for the reds and the blacks. They're looking for a feeling of openness and adventure. And so all the website is kind of structured to promote that brand. And unfortunately, this is not an easy step. This isn't a, pull a slot machine and get a brand. If you've done anything with your brand for your business, you know that this takes a lot of effort, a lot of tears, a lot of iteration, a lot of I don't knows, and that's okay. But the sooner you're able to get your brand identity finalized, the better your website is going to be at representing your business. And then you need to decide the website's primary purpose. Not all websites are designed to do the same thing. Some are designed to, drive customers to your brick and mortar. So you really need to design your website to facilitate the purpose. Like, what are you trying to accomplish with this website? Is it to sell your product online? Is it to generate phone calls where you can close the deal? Is it to just share information so that the community knows that you're a thought leader, that you have experience? So that's the question I ask people who want to build a website. I'm like, what is the customer experience? What is the purpose? What are you trying to accomplish? And if the answer is I don't know, then that's what our advisors are here to help you with. But you really want to know, okay, why my neighbor told me it's a good idea. That's usually not a good reason. Great that they see the need for a website, but you really want to have a goal, and you can have multiple. It could be all of the above, but the way you build the website is going to be to accomplish something. So you want to move people through this process, and that's how you know your website is doing a good job. Most hosting providers are able to provide you with data about how customers are interacting with your website. How long are they staying on a page? Where are they navigating to? And so you can kind of see, is my website set up to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish? And we all do that, right? We navigate to buy something, we add it to our cart, and then it just sits there, right? We call that cart abandonment. And that just gives you an idea, okay, what is happening with my website and why can I get them to actually buy? So you need to have that idea of, my goal is for them to buy, so then my website is all geared to accomplishing that, and I can look at the data to see, are we accomplishing that goal? Number 3, you want to get your domain name reserved. And your domain name is what people type in at the top of the browser, the www.domainname.com, or there's a whole bunch of other options out there. Keep it simple, and you want it to keep it brand related. So, if you're selling bicycles, you don't want to say, we're an awesome company.com, right? So you want to keep it brand related. Getoutdoorsonyorbike.com, or if you're selling bikes, is bikedepot.com, or something that's brand related. Now, the problem is there are thousands and millions of websites out there, and that means your domain name may already be taken, right? So there are ways for you, and usually when you go and you set up with a hosting provider, you add your existing domain name if you have one, or you create one, you reserve one, you do a search and you see, is this domain name taken? And it might be in use by someone else, and so you might need to change or alter or add. A lot of times they're for sale. So back in the day when the internet first came out, a lot of people just bought a whole bunch of domain names just because they thought it would be a good idea. And turns out it was a good idea, right? And so now they list them for sale. And if there's a domain name that you really, really, really want, you can typically buy it if it's for sale. You're going to pay a lot more probably than what it would be if you created it from scratch. But again, your domain name is really important because it's what people remember. And you want to keep it simple so it can be remembered. You don't want, my domain name is amazing because I'm the best salesperson in the world.com. it's probably not going to be remembered, or it's going to be miskeyed, when it's really, really, really long. So you want to keep it simple, you want to keep it short, and you want to keep it brand related. But that can be a journey all of in itself, trying to find that domain name that you really, really want. And then you choose your hosting provider and website editor. We'll cover that later in the webinar. But you want to choose who you're going to use. And so that a lot comes down to pricing. So a lot of them have different price plans, have different levels from like small business to enterprise to etc. And then features. Do you get an email? Are they going to pay for your first X free? Like they have promotions. So you do want to do a little bit of shopping to see what is actually going to provide what you actually need and where you're going to grow. And then what are the specials? 50% off this, 50% off that. And most of the time, a single company does it all, right? To minimize your effort, you just pay one bill and they set it up all for you. So you need to choose a hosting provider. Step 5 comes the fun part. You get to create the content. So you actually need to create content. Don't publish an incomplete website. Don't use the stock text of the Latin verbiage they put just to fill. Make sure you create your content, make it authentic, make it brand related, and then you publish. And publishing is just hitting publish, right? You can go back and you can update, you can keep things in draft, and you can publish as much as you want, right? So it's not like you can only publish during a certain time when the printers are running. Now you publish whenever you need to make an update or a change. And then step 6, it's not really about the website, but it's important to make the website succeed. You need to drive people to your website. That's all your marketing strategy. You want to get traffic. What's the point of having this beautiful brand representing awesome e-commerce website and no one's on it, right? So you need to drive people to your website. Just because you build it doesn't mean they'll come. You need to come up with a plan to make sure people are going to see what you spent all that time doing. All right, what every website needs. And these are things that I've learned in the space and observed as I, interact with really, really good websites. So this is kind of your must-have, right? You want a simple, clean design. When websites were getting popular, the thought was cram as much information on it as possible and on that first page so no one has to scroll. That was what we were doing, right? Cramming as much information on that landing page so that people don't have to scroll. It was a myth or thought back then that if people have to scroll, you're going to lose their engagement, right? But now you'll see if you go to a lot of large brands, they're moving to clean and simple, right? They're not afraid of people scrolling because they know if their content is compelling, people will scroll, right? And if your website is clean and simple, they're more likely to scroll. If it's unreadable, if it's overcrowded, people tend to just X out, right? No one wants to see something that is impossible to find what you're looking for because there's just too much content on the page. Don't be afraid of empty space. Make sure the content is readable. Overcrowded pages tend to be skipped. You want simple and clear navigation. So the worst thing about a website is not knowing how to get where you need to get to, right? So a lot of websites have navigation bars at the top. That seems to be the industry standard. You want it to be, the key things. Remember, we talked about the purpose of the website. The key things your customers are going to be looking for. You want them at the top of your navigation, and you want it easy to navigate. So I'm sure you've seen it where you scroll, you hover, and then expanding menu comes up, and then you can hover over it and expands and expands and expands and expands. We want to kind of avoid that because that takes a lot of mouse dexterity and it doesn't work on the phone. So easy to navigate is key. Don't have an incredible amount of nested sub menus. And then you want people to be able to easily find what they're looking for. So a sitemap is essential. You'll notice that when you scroll to the bottom of a website, it has all the links there, right? That's a sitemap. So everything is there. The top is like this user experience of, oh, look at how beautiful this menu looks. The bottom is like, okay, skip all that. Let me just find what I need. So you want to offer both. And then you want to keep it up to date. Nothing brings down your credibility more than content or a website that shows it's last updated 5 years ago. All right. To me, I'm like, is that business even around? So keep your content up to date. Don't have it be stale. Don't have it be old. Even if it's still real, just update that website. Just go and re-edit and republish to keep it showing that it's current. You need an about page. You need people to be able to find out what your business is about, what your brand is about. Have it be personable, have it be real. Right. So more and more people are looking for authentic interaction with their commerce. Through a website, it's not personal. It's the screen. Introverts like that, but most people want to know who they're dealing business with. And so about page is where you get to brag about yourself, why you're amazing, why you have your business, especially small businesses. A lot of people love to find out, why should I invest in a small business? And so you launched your product because, or it started because, and that gives them an opportunity for connection and relationship. And that's really, really, really important. I can't recommend that enough. Now, you're not going to tell them your life story. When I was 2, this happened, and then I moved here. It's more about your brand and your business. Why did you start your business? Why do you exist? What problems are you solving? Why are you amazing? That's your about page. And then you showcase, obviously, your product and services. If that's the goal of your website, is to close a sale or drive them to your website, drive them to your store, you obviously need to showcase your product, right? So good pictures, please, and clear prices, how to purchase, adding to your cart. There are a lot of websites that do this really, really well, that make it super easy to add things to your cart, remove things from your cart. It's awful when you can't remove things from your cart, or it's just clunky, right? So that's why it's called a shopping cart. It should be very easy to put things in, easy to put things out, clear things on prices, how to engage with you, and how to find out more information. And then original media when possible. So please, no clip art. No clip art. You want, again, stock images are okay if they fit your brand, but just realize that it's not representing your actual product or your actual team. Media is the best opportunity to really create that connection, so they see you, they know you, who they're dealing with, and the real product, right? And then testimonials. Don't be afraid to list testimonials. Don't be afraid to list reviews, good reviews, obviously. It's word of mouth is really big. And as industry gets more and more crowded with similar products, testimonials are what separate your business from other businesses. So you want to showcase that on your website. You want to ask customers for feedback, and then when they give you 5 out of 5 stars, put that up on your website. You'd be amazed how that can become the deciding factor for whether or not to purchase from you. And then a link to your social media profiles. People would ask me, isn't that redundant? No, because like I said, Instagram is different than TikTok, it's different from Twitter, it's different from Facebook, etc. So each of those platforms are used to present content in a certain way. And so that's kind of the full experience for a user. And then you want them to follow you to buy more. Easy to find contact information. So you want them to be able to get in touch with you, a little form they fill out to email you. Make sure if you do that, you check it. Make sure you're going to actually check that email. If you're not going to check that email ever, then don't put an email address, put a phone number or something else. But you want them to be able to find a way to get in contact with you, especially if you're selling a product. And then optional, but highly recommended, is some sort of blog or article section. So for a small business, why would someone choose a small business over a large business? Most of the time it's because you have the experience and the expertise and you're a human. Not that large businesses aren't humans, but you know what I mean, the layers of bureaucracy they have to get through. And so a blog is an opportunity for you to demonstrate knowledge and thought leadership. So I was helping one guy in his business and he's like, no one's going to my traffic. No, there's no traffic. He's selling this one service. I said, well, you're an amazing person. You have so much knowledge. You need to show people. So he just started writing tips and tricks about his industry and behind the scenes photos. And it was like a real look at his work, and his traffic skyrocketed because people were coming to his website to receive his knowledge. He gained their trust that he was an expert, and so they bought his service. So it really does drive traffic to your website. It really gives people customers. It gives them the confidence that you know what you're talking about, because they're not face-to-face in a brick and mortar where you can, create that trust. The blog, the article creates that trust. It drives traffic to your website. Highly recommend it. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to show you, everyone should hopefully be able to see. I'm going to go through a couple of websites that do exactly what we're talking about. Now, everyone uses Google. I shouldn't say everyone, but most people know what Google is. And I love this website because it is so clean and so simple, and it meets the very purpose of Google. Google's existence is to provide the information of the world at the fingertips of the user. Their mission statement is something like that, right? So what more creates that feel than a search box? I love it. So, Google, they do everything, right? They could have put everything on this website, on this page, but they chose to be true to their brand and their function. And this is my favorite example of what it means to know your website's purpose and to implement it. All right, Velasca. So this is an Italian brand, and I love this website because it is so Italian. I love that they kept this landing page completely simple, and I feel like you get a real amazing sense of the brand and the style. You can see it's Italian from the picture, from the get-go. You kind of already know that it's clothing because of the guy standing there. But let's look at the menu items. Very, very clear. They sell shoes, clothing, accessories, right? And then they have their About Us and all the other things, right? So really, really, really nicely well done. And then you're like, oh, this is beautiful. And so you're going to scroll, right? Their story. And that's beautiful. What did I talk about? It's about their brand. It's about us. It's bringing me into who they are. I really like that. And then their products, right? So as you can see, I'm doing a lot of scrolling, but it doesn't feel bad because it's clean. There's a lot of space. It's a simple design. It's a powerful design. And while they're using images, it's not cheesy clip art, right? They link their social and then a way for you to keep in touch. I really like this website. And this is a template on a well-known, that's what makes me funny, makes me laugh. This is a template that you can use that's on existing tool provider. So even the big brands use it. All right, let's look at another example. I don't want to. Okay. So this is a company that sells bikes, and their brand is Bikes for the Family. And so they do a great job of showcasing that again. And so they're very, very forward. They sell bikes. They have payment plans to make it, economically accessible. And then their reviews are huge. So this is where they just clearly list their product, the pricing, and then why they exist. And then I want to show you the sitemap. Scroll all the way down. This is kind of the sitemap. So you don't want to navigate or you're having trouble finding what is what, boom, you come straight to the sitemap. So it has all the things in the navigation bar plus more. Coffee machines. I like this because it is a really good use of empty space, white space. Don't be afraid of empty space. Don't feel like you need to fill every nook and cranny. But I really like very, very good pictures of their product. And then testimonials, really, really big. So right after their product, boom, they're listing testimonials. So don't be afraid of bragging about yourself. Their products. And then this is their blog. Right, so they're creating content to help feed the brand and help feed the product and invest in the community. And then more and more pages are doing this. You saw on the Italian brand as well. They're directly linking to their social pages. So they're not just selling you a product, they're creating a community. They're finding the people that resonate with their story, with their brand, and then they're creating that community because community buys product together. And finally, let's look at this. This is a very non-standard website, but I wanted to show it because it works. Here you have the company name, it's sideways, and it's a hamburger menu, which a lot of people do to save space because they really want to showcase their product, which is clothing. It's not milk, it's clothing for kids who drink milk, which is why they do milk. And so this is an example where they really want to communicate their product and their brand. So it's doable. It's very non-standard, non-traditional, with the hamburger coming out and the sideways, but it works because they're all about selling babies' clothes. All right. So these again will be in the deck. And there are a ton more amazing websites. These are just a few that I've chosen. And so you can peruse different brands and you can see the look and feel that you really like. And then you can model your website after that. It's a good idea to kind of have a guide of something that represents the brand that you're going for. All right, popular tools. How do we select the tool that we're going to use? Because there are a lot of them out there, right? So for you, you're thinking, how easy is it for me to use based off my level of skill? What's the pricing? Obviously, it's usually you can pay it up in an annual fee or a monthly fee. What's the feature set? Do I need an email? Do I need this? Do I need that? What's the customer support like? There's different tiers of customer support. Who owns the content? And how portable is it? Meaning, does it work on laptop, Mac, iPad, tablet, phone, etc. So this is the list of popular tools. Again, you don't need to write these down. You have the deck. But WordPress is very, very popular, and Wix, they're both very, very popular, but there are a lot out there. There's WordPress.com, WordPress.org. If you're going to have an e-commerce site, probably the most popular one is Shopify, although a lot of these have plugins for e-commerce as well. Squarespace is a popular one as well. So if you do a search for popular website building tools, you'll get 50 back, right? So it makes it important to understand what's your criteria and begin to narrow that field. And specials. A lot of times you'll determine it based off of promotion. So the conclusion, oh, I wanted to talk a little bit about these. So the way it'll work is you'll get a domain name, you'll pay your fee. A lot of times they allow you to design your website before you even pay, or they have a free version that maybe has banners or marketing stuff on it. So a lot of times you can go to these websites and you want to choose from a template. Now, if you're a really good developer, maybe you can build it from scratch. But most of the time, all these tools have tons of templates. And so you're going to go to the website, you're going to choose a template based off of what you like. Like, what are you selling? They have categories like you're in e-commerce, or you're a blog, or you're this, or you're that. And so you can choose from templates, and then it'll land you in the template, and then you can edit it directly. So you click on an image to change it, you click on a text area to update the text, you can add hyperlinks, you can drag and drop components, like you want a file folder that allows users to scroll through pictures. Well, there's probably a component that you pull from the side and you literally drop it directly into your website. And that's your website editor. And then when you're ready to publish it, you click publish, and it's simple as that. But the first place you'll want to start is template, and that might allow you to choose which tool you want, because maybe web.com has the perfect template that you want and Wix doesn't. Maybe web.com is a little bit more expensive, I don't know, but your template is like, okay, this is how I want my website to look. So go to several of the tools and see what templates they offer, right? And that might help make your decision easier. So in conclusion, your business website is not the place to put clip art and hope for the best. So you don't just throw something out there and automatically think it's going to generate sales. It is your brand identity, it's your marketing anchor, it's your sales engine, it's who you are, right? And it is crowded. Obviously, I don't know what industry you're in and what you're doing, but most likely you have competition. So it is really your opportunity to stand out, to express your unique brand, and then to demonstrate thought leadership and knowledge, and then have that customer experience really define who you are, like that journey of taking someone from landing on your website all the way to sales. It's where you can really stand out. Having a website is worth it. It does cost money. It's not for free. Getting a brand identity does cost money. It's not for free. But it's well worth it because of all the reasons. It works 24/7 for you. So, it's like an employee that doesn't sleep and doesn't quit and never takes holiday, and does exactly what you tell it to do, and it's working all the time. It adds credibility, and it allows a landing spot for all of your marketing activity. And so it's really worth making that investment, especially if you want to expand your footprint beyond a brick and mortar, or just you face to face with customers. And so, you can get help. So our center, we have advisors who specialize in website development. They specialize in SEO. This isn't covering SEO. We do have workshops on SEO, but that is what helps generate traffic to your website. And so reach out to SBDC center near you. But other companies provide website design, marketing, build services. So if you look up marketing companies, 9 times out of 10, they have website development as part of their portfolio, as part of their service. So reach out if you don't think this is something you want to do by yourself. Get a quote and see what it would cost you. Again, I highly recommend it. I think it's a great asset for your business. Remember, a website isn't a one-step fix my business solution. And I have had clients come to me and say, I need a website. And I'm like, why? And I'm like, because I need to sell more. And it's like, okay, website is just part of that equation. So understand that there's other things that need to happen for you and your business to maximize your website. A website doesn't generate traffic without the help of good content and SEO, again, search engine optimization. And a website should be part of a larger strategy of how to drive sales. So it's just one piece of your marketing strategy, your marketing roadmap that help drive sales. But a great website can help you close that deal so much easier. A good website can help you reach a larger audience, a global audience, and make sales beyond the reach of your brick and mortar or just you as a person. So that is the end. I'm going to leave it for questions now. Is that I can't tell, Emily, what that is. Is that
Yeah, it's a dog's paw.
Okay, it's a dog's paw. All right. If you or your dog have questions, you can put it in the chat. This last slide of the deck you'll receive, it's our local office in Redding, California. But again, you have an office close to you. You can go to that americassbdc.org, find your SBDC, or you can contact us and we will help you find it. We have all of our social media properties, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We have a lot of content on YouTube, especially during COVID. We were pumping out content. So most likely we've covered something that you're interested in. So check out our channels as well. And with that, are there any questions?
So it looks like there was a question in the chat. Someone asked, is there any reason for not mentioning GoDaddy?
Oh, no, not at all. GoDaddy is a fine. I don't know if they do. It's been a while since I've checked GoDaddy. I don't know if they provide the encompassing services or if they just do domain purchasing. So that could be why it's not on the list. I think all the tools that I showed provide all the services together, meaning domain, a reservation, and purchasing, as well as website editing and publishing. GoDaddy might just do the domain piece, but maybe they've shifted. But there's nothing that I have against GoDaddy at all.
All right, and if anyone else has any questions, go ahead and put it in the chat. Okay,
While we're answering questions, if you could go ahead and also fill out that survey, we would really appreciate it.
Thanks, Bryan. Absolutely. Yeah, and I just wanted to say for that survey, that does help us out, helps keep us funded to get that information. So even if you just click on it now and then fill it out afterwards, that works as well. So this next question, are there fee differences between a site that sells and a site that directs to brick and mortar through leadership?
So your fee for the tool is going to be the same regardless of the content or the purpose of the tool. So if your website is just merely a page that purpose is to point people to your brick and mortar, you're using up the same amount of server space. They usually give you a cap of how much content you can have, and you don't have to increase until you exceed that. So whether you're actually selling a product at your brick and mortar on your website or you're just redirecting, your fee is going to be the same. So the fee is structured from the tools more based off of the services and the features you receive. So customer support, type support, how many emails, maybe you're getting, how large capacity storage space, how much data you need, things like that. Not so much the purpose of the website. Obviously, a redirect will take up less space than if you were going to have a lot of media-rich content with all your products, but it's not so much the purpose, it's more the level of services you receive from that hosting provider.
Awesome. And then the last person replied that GoDaddy does provide full website services.
Okay,
so that's great.
Awesome. Yep. So like I said, I put what, 15 on there, 10 on there. There's 50 to 100. So really, there's going to be a lot of different options. You are going to have to decide based off those factors like we talked about. The templates they have, ease of use, the fee, like we just discussed, all of that will be factors in you deciding, is one really better than the other? They're all the same. Like they all provide the same service. Does one have more uptime or downtime? I probably not, right? Is one more buggy? No. So it's going to be how much are you willing to pay and what benefits and features you receive. Like I know Bluehost at one point, their customer service was really, really, really good, and then they changed it, and like you never could contact a live person. Well, some people are okay with that. Some people maybe just need to send tickets and hope for the best. I like live people. I like talking to someone, even if they're in another country. I want to talk to someone. So that kind of are factors for me, and you have to decide what is the most important factors for you when you choose that tool. Any other questions?
Yeah, so there's another question. Someone said, you mentioned hosting. Do we choose whether our site is on AWS, etc.? And are there ways to decide the best host?
So that will be probably unknown to you, meaning Amazon Web Services. Some hosts will allow you to see or understand their technology stack, is what we call it, like where their services are located, how content is served up, where their nodes are. Most, if not all, we see them as a black box. Black box meaning we don't get to see what's happening on the inside. We sign an agreement, a service level agreement, meaning they will provide X amount of features and uptime if we pay this fee. And then that's all we get to know. We don't know where the traffic goes through. We don't know who serves up the content. We don't know if it's Amazon AWS or another hosting provider. Most of that stuff is opaque to us. We don't see it. You could probably ask, but they would say, why do you care? Or why do you need to know? Now, sometimes, you have a preference with who you use, and that's fine. And so, but most of the time it's like, it's agreement with the hosting provider. We'll provide an assurance of 99% uptime, customer service response within X amount of time, 2 emails, blah, blah, blah. You agree to pay us $50 a month. So it's more of that transaction. It's not, they're a black box. And I would say most of the entities operate that way. It's like cell companies, right? Like they promise a certain amount of coverage and features and data and bandwidth, but you don't know if they're piggybacking off of someone's network or anything like that. And that really usually doesn't matter to the consumer. So if it does matter to you, then that helps narrow your field of who you use as a hosting provider, right? Are they willing to be a little bit transparent about, are they on Amazon AWS or serving up content through Akamai or stuff like that? Sorry if that was a little too technical, but all that just to make the point that rarely do we get to see what's under the covers.
Awesome. And I think that's the end of the question. Well, one more question here, and then we'll need to wrap up. Or sorry, a comment. So someone said you can get comparison opinions from YouTubers that utilize the services. So they provide their experience with customer servicing, pricing, load time, etc.
Yep. And that's a great, if you have like 6 options and they all meet your needs and they're all the same, then you find reviews on those hosting providers. Just like, I said how reviews are important for your website. Well, we use reviews all the time. Like before I buy a product, I'm looking, what are the reviews on this product? So use reviews as well. Use YouTube reviewers or Better Business Bureau or whatever's out there to find other people's experience with that hosting provider. So that's a very, very good comment. I believe our time is up. Thank you again so much for joining us for today's webinar. Again, Emily, I believe you will be sending out this deck. to all the participants. Please, please, please fill out the survey. It helps. One, we want to know how we did, how we can improve, but two, it helps, validate that our content is useful for small business owners. And again, look up our Instagram, or we don't have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and hope to see you on another webinar sometime soon. So with that, we'll say thank you and we'll say goodbye.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian.
Mhm.